Hi there. So today, as you can see here, we're going to be covering a brief overview of SEO. And with that, we're just going to be looking into how SEO works, how you can use it for your website to improve your ranking in Google search results, and how you can search for keywords and how you can rank for those keywords. So let's just get right into it. So before we get into anything on how to optimize your own website, let's just look at how SEO works and why it's kind of important in marketing online. Okay, so let's just start by pretending that I am a random internet searcher, and I'm going to search as a test term, what is sustainable agriculture? Okay. So here are my results that come up in my Google search. Here we've got a Wikipedia article. Wikipedia is often going to show up high in search results just because it's a very reputable website, and Google recognizes it as an authority. But besides the Wikipedia result, we've also got this one by, I believe the scientists, something, yes, Union of Concerned Scientists. So there's that article, and look at how the title of their article has the phrase, what is sustainable agriculture, right in the title. Well, that is part of the reason that this shows up so high in Google search results, is because this is exactly the phrase that somebody searched, and now this is exactly what's showing up in the result. If you scroll on down, you see there's a whole bunch more with the exact phrase that are showing up high up. Now, part of the reason that this site is showing up top is because, first of all, it's probably a pretty high ranked authority site. So what I mean by that is that Google probably recognizes it as an authority website. Additionally, look inside of the article itself. They use the word agriculture a lot, farmers, farming, environmentally, sustainable, yada yada, all synonyms that Google's algorithm is going to recognize as related to sustainable agriculture. So within their article, they use a lot of these phrases referring to agriculture that Google is going to recognize. What Google's goal is, and you have to understand what Google's goal is that basically they serve a customer, and the customer is the searcher who types this phrase into Google. Google wants to give the customer, the searcher, the results that they're looking for. So Google is going to guess, using their algorithm, what results the searcher most wants. If you can tailor your website to say to Google, basically, this is what the searcher is looking for, then Google is going to show your search result high up. So what this website here has done is they've shown Google, for somebody searching what is sustainable agriculture, we're going to answer that question for them. And we're a high-ranking authority website. We use all these key terms and this phrase in the article, and Google is going to say to that, run it through its algorithm, and Google is going to say, oh, okay, this is a good website to show my searcher and give my customer what they want. Google wants to give their customer what the customer is looking for. If you give the customer what they're looking for, then Google is going to include your website high up in search results. All right, so let's get into more of how you can optimize your website to basically tell Google that you're giving the customer what Google wants to give them. Before we get any further into optimization, let's just talk first of all about what your website has to be in order to even play the game. So this is, in order to even be a contender in Google search results, you have to meet these basic requirements. So first of all, your website needs to be fast. So this just means that your load time needs to probably be under 3 seconds. When someone clicks to go to your website, it probably needs to load in about 3 seconds or less, preferably less. The way you do that is avoid using super big images, resize all your images, avoid using super big like files of any kind or videos or stuff like that, and then just try to keep your content pretty simple. Now, the way you can test if your website is fast enough is you can just type in Google Page Speed Insights in your browser. Type that in. A website will pop up that you can just enter your website URL in, and Google will tell you how fast it loads and different things to fix on your site. So just search Google Page Speed Insights. Okay, so secure. That's the other thing your website needs to be. Basically, all this is your website URL has to say HTTPS instead of just HTTP. So an unsecured website that is not HTTPS will get flagged by Google and won't show up as high in search results. To get an HTTPS website, you just need a security certificate on it. So most new websites that you build are going to have that. Your web designer, if you have one, is going to build a website that is secured. Just make sure you have a website that is HTTPS instead of HTTP. Okay, so then the last thing is your website needs to be linked to by high authority websites. And this is a little harder to do because basically you need to get other people to link to you. First of all, what is a high authority website? That's just websites that Google recognizes as high authority. So for instance, Wikipedia that I just mentioned, an edu website, a .gov website, various like most big company websites will be recognized as authorities, magazine websites, etc. Now you might be wondering how you can get links on those websites. Basically, if you're involved in any kind of academic project, an edu will link to you. Various PR stuff, if you're featured in a magazine or featured anywhere, probably one of those news websites is going to link to you, and that link is going to generate some credibility for you. So you don't need to like, super much focus on that, but just be aware that getting some high quality links from authority websites is really powerful for increasing your likelihood of being ranked highly in Google search results. So just try and look for opportunities to get links like that from authority websites. Okay, so now that we kind of got that out of the way, let's move into how to pick keywords and how to do keyword research to pick the ideal keywords to rank on your website. So when I talk about keywords, first of all, you probably want to have like 20 main keywords that you want your entire website to rank for. So for Alder Spring, that's like grass-fed beef, organic beef, regenerative organic beef, etc. You get the idea. So those are the keywords that we want to rank high for, and just general keyword terms. So we're going to try to use those wherever we can to tell Google that that's what our site is, that's what we sell. Okay, so then besides your general keywords though, for each page, post, product, whatever that you create, you're also going to want to have a single keyword phrase that you've chosen, and that is the keyword phrase that you're targeting for that page, post, product, whatever. So how then to select good keywords and select keywords that you can rank for is our first item of business. Okay, so let's talk about a couple of these keyword research tools, and I'll give you a full list at the bottom of this video on these different tools and where you can find them. So first of all, Word Tracker. This is a free tool, but only for 10 searches. So you can search 10 different keywords, and then they're gonna shut you down. So basically there are no free tools, so there are only workarounds to get free stuff. So here's one of them. So say you want to search a keyword term, and say you sell grass-fed lamb. So grass-fed lamb is a keyword that you probably want to rank for. Let's search it. Okay, so they're only going to show you a little bit because you have the free plan here, but here's grass-fed lamb, and here's the volume, so that's the monthly number of searches, and then here's the competition rating. So a higher number means more competition. A 9.54 is pretty good. Under 10 is usually pretty achievable. Moz is a really great tool. I definitely recommend. And they do have a 30-day free trial. So you can just sign up for the free trial and then delete it at the end of the month if you want it to be completely free. So with Moz, you can not only research keywords, as I just showed you here in Word Tracker, and see where they rank and see the competition and see how hard it might be for you to rank, but you can also track how your site is doing on all kinds of different metrics, compare it with your competitors, all this different stuff. So it's definitely a really good tool for optimizing your site for SEO. And there are all kinds of features that basically keyword research just scratches the surface of what Moz can do. Okay, so the next main tool I use in any of my SEO research is Google's own tool called its Keyword Planner. Okay, but the thing about the Keyword Planner is it's also not free. So you can only have access to that if you have a Google Ads account. And to run a Google Ads account, you have to have an ad, and you have to run the ad in order to make the account. So you can kind of cheat on this and get access to the Google Keyword Planner by creating a Google Ads account, running an ad for like $1, and then stopping your ad. And then you've run your ad, you're allowed access to the Keyword Planner, and you can get into this whole back office area. So anyway, once you have access to that, you can search for keywords here and just see where they rank in Google and how often they are searched. So I'm going to go with my grass-fed lamb thing again, get results, and you can search a whole bunch at a time. You don't just have to do one at a time, but let's just search one at a time for now. So the problem is it doesn't give me an exact number, so it's saying here that I get 100 to 1K monthly searches, and that's a pretty big range, but yeah, it's not exact. But anyway, so grass-fed lamb gets that amount of searches, and then they have a whole bunch of suggestions below that might be easier for you to rank for. Now, this competition factor, this is the competition among other advertisers for this keyword. So that's basically a bidding war between advertisers. So it's kind of not as relevant in terms of ranking organically for a keyword. So in order to kind of figure out how you might rank organically for grass-fed lamb and what the competition looks like for that keyword, again, Moz is a really good tool for this because they'll show you kind of right off the bat. But let's say I search grass-fed lamb just in Google to see what the competition looks like. Okay, so grass-fed lamb, and ignore this just goes with our blog. But anyway, you've got 33,000 and 33 million results, which seems like a lot, but that's not actually that bad. And then the first thing it shows is local results, and that's always going to be the first thing it shows to anybody. So one important thing in your SEO marketing is to make sure you have one of these profiles on here because it's going to show your results to local people who search you. And also it's really important to just have that because whenever somebody searches your name in Google, that'll pop up. But anyway, these are the actual results. Okay, so we have grass-fed lamb from White Oak Pastures. They rank first for this. Then you have D'Artagnan.com, and then there's EatWild.com. You probably know about that. That's been around for quite a while, actually. And that is why they rank, even though their website isn't great. The fact that they've existed for so long, that's enough. See, it says not secure up here. That means they're not an HTTPS, they're just an HTTP, but Google's still going to recognize them as a decent website because they've existed for so long. Anyway, back to the results here though. This might be possible for somebody to rank for because the competition doesn't look that bad actually, and there's not a lot of results on this. So you might be able to rank for this keyword. So you just save that keyword as a potential keyword that you can rank for and on with your searching. So the next possible tool here is Ahrefs. It's a lot like Moz, does exactly the same thing. It has a 7-day trial for $7. So just thought I'd throw that out there as an option. The next tool is SEMrush. Okay, same kind of thing as Moz and Ahrefs. Also has a free trial. Just another one to check out. Okay, then this one is kind of a little different from the rest of them. Also, this guy's creepy, but yeah. But anyway, this one's a little different in that you can just generate a whole tag cloud of what people are searching for. So say you searched grass-fed lamb, this would generate a whole bunch of different ways that people are searching for grass-fed lamb. They might be searching local grass-fed lamb, where to buy grass-fed lamb, organic grass-fed lamb, etc. So it'll just generate a whole bunch of different suggestions to use as other keywords and to run through your keyword research system. Okay, so with all this, I usually just make a spreadsheet. And in each spreadsheet, I list the keyword itself, the average number of monthly searches, and then the odds of me ranking for that. And I just make a long spreadsheet list, and then I just go for whichever keyword is a better option for that product or for that page or whatever. So once you find some good keywords, then you can start using those on your website and in your pages or products or whatever. So when you're picking a keyword, let's just go into this a little bit. First of all, you really want to consider the intent of the searcher. So for instance, when I just searched what is sustainable agriculture, I could be a farmer searching that. I could be a customer searching that. I could be a researcher searching that. You don't know what my intent in searching that is. So that might not necessarily be a great keyword because you want to have keywords that your buyers are searching. And since another farmer could be searching what is sustainable agriculture, then they're not probably a potential buyer. So you want to be careful about picking keywords that your buyers are going to be using. Okay, so the next thing to consider when you're looking at keywords is the competition you're up against. And that's what we kind of just saw here in the grass-fed lamb search. This is the competition you're up against. So you want to look carefully at their pages and see if you think you could compete. So the competition is, it's decent on grass-fed lamb, but see, they aren't optimizing and using this keyword as well as they could. So for instance, here, grass-fed lamb, they use the term, Google doesn't recognize spaces, so they're using the exact keyword. But you only see it once here, and let's see how else they use it. So they are using it on every single product, which is good. So they're going to be ranking for all of these products, and Google's going to see this as, oh, this is where somebody can buy grass-fed lamb online, because Google's going to see this in every single product. So they're now ranking for grass-fed lamb pretty decently. Okay, so what about this site? They use the grass-fed lamb keyword exactly, and hyphens don't matter either. It's in the URL, so they're doing pretty good on that. Here's grass-fed lamb again. No thank you. But here they don't use grass-fed lamb anywhere else on the page really. So this is a decently keyword optimized page, but not amazing. You could compete with it. So, and so on and so forth. And you just want to be analyzing how much they use the keyword, whether they've used the keyword in all possible areas that they could use the keyword, which we'll go into that a little later, and just whether or not you might be able to rank in comparison. So the next thing you need to consider when you're picking a keyword is the popularity and the monthly searches. And we kind of already looked at that. When you're looking at the keyword search tools, it lists the number of monthly searches, and you want to pick one that's decently popular. But you don't really need to aim for a keyword that gets like 100,000 monthly searches, because your chances of getting that keyword are really, really low, because usually the competition around those keywords is pretty intense. So it's okay if it's a keyword with only 1,000 monthly searches, or even like a couple hundred monthly searches, so long as those are searches with the right intent and that the people searching are people who are likely to come and buy. So last thing is relevance to your brand. Pick a keyword that relates to what you do and what you sell and what the rest of your website talks about, because Google's going to recognize consistency across your website on what you're talking about. And also, your customer isn't going to be interested in keywords that aren't relevant to your brand. So just pick a keyword that goes with what you do. That should be pretty obvious. Okay, so the other thing when you're looking at the competition now on your keywords is the first thing to consider is the URL. Does it contain the keyword or one of the keywords? Back to some of our grass-fed lamb results. Here's another one. This one doesn't use the grass-fed lamb keyword in the URL. That's the URL up there. They don't use it. So the competition isn't doing great on that count. What about titles? Do they use it in the title of the post? Is it an exact match, or does it incorporate most of the keywords? So for instance, on the White Oak Pastures page that we were just talking about, they do really well because they use it in every single one of their product titles. So it's an exact match, and they do a pretty good job of that. So then the authority. And if you have the SEO tools like Moz or Ahrefs, you'd be able to look exactly at their page authority compared to yours, and they'll give you a number between 1 and 100 on what their authority is. Like an authority of 25 is decent. But anyway, just consider the authority of the website and whether you can compete with that. So are these websites owned by big corporations? Are these .gov or .edu? Or are they just regular small business websites? And a lot of those results were. So they are kind of within the range of what you can compete with. And then the content itself. So whether or not the content that the page has on it contains the keyword again and again. And you can look at that on, say, the White Oak Pastures website. Here it should say grass-fed lamb somewhere within it. So it does say lamb and grass-fed separately, which does decently in Google, but it would be better if they had it grass-fed lamb all in the same phrase, which I don't actually see that anywhere, though they do have it here as the title. Okay, so the final thing is then when you're ready to go create your post or your product or whatever it is you're creating, and you've chosen a keyword and all that, then you just want to make sure that you kind of do this little checklist when you're creating any kind of product or post or whatever. So I'm going to just run through a little demonstration case on our grass-fed beef product, our grass-fed ground beef, and how we might optimize that for SEO. So I'm on our ground beef page and creating the ground beef, grass-fed ground beef bundle product. And I want to optimize this for the keyword grass-fed ground beef. And you can make it either grass-fed with a space or grass-fed without a space. Google doesn't really see a difference, so I'm just going to leave it grass-fed with no space. So here's my content that I've written as the description for the product. But here I just say ground beef. I'm going to say grass-fed ground beef. I'm going to say regular grass-fed ground beef. And actually, just for kicks, I'm going to add organic before this, because you never know if someone might be searching organic ground beef instead. Okay, so then where else could I put the keyword where it still seems natural? Grass-fed. And I'm not going to say ground beef there because that's awkward. And maybe at the end I'll add some of the best one more time with the keyword just for kicks. So now it's in the title, it's in the text. Now let's put it on the image alt tag. So this is the alt text right here. I also have it in the image title, as you can see, organic, except that's a slight typo, so I'll have to fix that. But that should say grass-fed ground beef in the title, and then organic grass-fed ground beef bundle as the alt text. And alt text is just what shows up if the image doesn't display, but you can use it as a way to add SEO. Okay, so I'm going to save that, and I'll edit the title, but you don't need to see me do that. You know kind of how that goes. Anyway, the last thing then is the edit the website SEO portion. And this is just on Shopify. On other websites, there's going to be a different way to do this. So, you know, this is just how we'll do it here. So the SEO thing, that's just where it shows up in the search listing. You want to optimize that so that it shows up really well in the search engine. So sold as individual packages. You can order it here on our online store and get it shipped from our Idaho ranch to your door. Our grass-fed ground beef. So here I've used the keyword then twice, and I also, just for kicks, mentioned Idaho. This is kind of a good thing for you to take home, actually, is that you might not be able to rank for the keyword on a national level. So if someone searched just generally grass-fed ground beef, you might not be able to rank for that. We might not be able to rank for that. I bet, there are other big names that show up when I search that. Let's just see what happens. Yeah, okay, so first of all, we've got a bunch of ads. There are a lot of ads for this. It's kind of hotly contested. Here are all the images. This is what will show up, and hopefully I would show up here because I just put that in my alt tag. So I'll show up in Google image search results because I made the title of my image and my alt tag SEO friendly. Okay, so then we have Target, we have Walmart, we have Crowd Cow, we have Grassland Beef, we have Amazon. So this is the kind of competition we're up against. We're probably not going to rank for that right off the bat, which is why I put the word Idaho in there. So you might not be able to rank for a keyword on the national level, but you might be able to rank for a keyword on a more local level. So throughout your website, you should always be mentioning where you're located, because and mention your city too if you're near a city or you serve there's a pretty big city close to you. Like, so our closest city is Boise. I'm going to mention Boise wherever I can on our website, because then maybe someone in Boise searching for ground beef or grass-fed beef is going to have us pop up just because I've mentioned Boise so many times. So mention your location, mention the cities closest to you whenever you can throughout your website, because that's going to bring in that local traffic, even if you can't rank for national traffic. And even though we deliver nationwide, we want local customers anyway. It's cheaper to ship to them. So even if you ship nationwide, you still want to appeal to those customers on a local level and get those customers on a local level. And you might as well, because you have a chance at competing for those keywords, because you can actually rank for local keywords, because Google's going to see your location and they're going to see the fact that you use these words a lot on your website, and you're going to rank for that. So anyway, I've done all these things now. I've SEO'd it a little bit. Also look at how it's in the URL, grass-fed ground beef. So I pretty well SEO'd this page. I'm just going to click save. So let's run through this again. The URL, I made sure that said grass-fed ground beef. The title, made sure that said grass-fed ground beef. Image, alt tags, and titles, that said grass-fed ground beef. The content, I mentioned it numerous times. And then I included similar keyword phrases in the content, like organic, ground beef, etc. And then I also threw in Idaho, because I wanted to optimize for a more local level as well. So that is pretty much it, a brief, kind of very brief overview of SEO. And there's definitely a lot more to it. And if you get the Moz tool, you'll see that there is a whole bunch of different stuff you can do out there. But this was kind of just a quick and dirty look at it and how you can optimize your posts and your website to be more search engine optimized and more likely to show up in search results. So if you don't want to do all that, the good news is Melanie and I actually do that ourselves when we build websites for people. So we recently started Deep Roots Branding, where we build websites, we design logos, we even come to your farm or ranch and take photos. And we can put together a website for you that will be SEO optimized and also optimized to speak to your particular customer and bring in your particular customer. So if you don't want to do it all yourself, good news, we can do it for you. But that is pretty much a wrap. And please let me know if you've got any questions. You can just reply to the email that was sent out in connection with this part of the course.